Assassin's Creed Odyssey goes way deeper in terms of customizing your own gear and weapons than Origins, giving you way more room to make the character you want. In this video I want to take an in-depth look at a new system called Engraving and what it will mean for the game. So if you enjoy that, then a like would be super appreciated, and let's go! During my E3 2018 play session I could already access the engraving menu, although I could not use the system yet, since you will need to do that at the blacksmith and those were not present in the demo yet. Although they will be at every town in the full game, just like we saw in Origins. So let's take a step back. What is engraving? Well, every weapon or gear piece has a set of standard perks. Common and bronze, so rare, have 2 perks. Epic has 3 and Legendary also has 3. And on top of that there's an engraving slot that lets you put another perk of your choosing on that item. And this can be very interesting with legendary items that have a specific perk that is tied to that weapon or gear piece. In the demo we for example saw Breath Underwater on the Spartan War Hero helmet that increases the time you can spend underwater. Or we got the Hades bow that I touched on in a previous video with the -1 adrenaline cost for the overpower abilities. And while they might change the Hades bows for the full game, since this perk was a little bit too strong, it does give you an idea of what special unique perks you can expect on these legendary items. Anyway, the exciting part about engraving is that you can now grab one perk from a weapon or gear piece that you got and put it on another item you found that maybe has some better stats overall. Let's say you want the +9% extra adrenaline per hit. That is very good, since with your adrenaline you can do your active abilities like the Spartan kick faster. So then you go to a blacksmith, grab that perk and put it on another item you really like if you have the engraving slot unlocked. We for example see here on the Athenian breastplate that it costs 2 different resources and 69 coins to unlock this slot, and once you have it unlocked you can switch your perk in and out every time for free, so you can really like try the different perks on this gear set to see if it works for you. And if you don't like it, just put another perk on it. Interesting is that the perk you got from the chest can maybe also be used on other gear pieces. So you can just put it on the gloves or the helmet as well to really go for a build that focuses on one specific thing, like getting your adrenaline back really fast so you can do abilities left and right. It was noted though that for balancing reasons you cannot put the perk on every item, so it really depends on the perk, because otherwise you could just go and put the adrenaline per hit, or let's say an increase in crit chance on every gear piece, and there are 6 in total, so that would mean that you then suddenly got 54% increase in adrenaline per hit. Yeah, that would be a little bit too much. So it's not weird that they limit it, but still the ability to make a weapon or gear piece you already like even better by grabbing a perk from another item is really cool. And this is not the only way you can earn the so-called recipes for the different perks. If we go to the engraving menu you can access via the gear window, you see that I already got some unlocked and that you can even upgrade them if you reach a certain level. So I would imagine that the assassin damage then goes from 2% to 3% for example. There were also some recipes that I could already see but were not unlocked yet and had a challenge tied to them that was required in order to use them. If we for example want the +3% damage with bows on distant targets, then you actually need to go out and kill enemies that way in order to increase your power of killing enemies from afar. Other recipes were tied to treasures you need to find in a certain region to push the exploring even more. Or sometimes you need to kill a certain enemy to get a bonus against fighting them. It's a really smart system that pushes you to try different things, like killing enemies without being hit to increase your movement speed while crouching, and rewards you for playing a certain way by making your character more powerful to play that way, like the distant target recipe. I was told during one of my interviews at E3 that a system comparable to the papyrus puzzles would return in Odyssey that should give you some special recipes as well, giving you probably a better reason to go out and solve these riddles to find these hidden items, because the papyrus puzzles just gave you a random purple or legendary item in Origins that was mostly useless at the max level if you already had some of the highest level of gear. I can imagine that getting a unique engraving in Odyssey is way more valuable because you can only get it that way. It can also be, by the way, that you get special engraving recipes for completing certain missions. So you need to do all this engraving management at the blacksmith, where you can also upgrade all your gear to the max level by spending the resources if you want. So like in Origins, you can just have that item you found at level 22 be a max level item as well. And in the case of Odyssey, add a special perk onto it to make it suit your playstyle even more. So for example, if you like these Spartan War Hero boots a lot because of the insane crit damage increase and the plus 3% assassin damage, then you can take it to the next level and for example put some movement speed while crouching perk onto it to make you even more of an assassin. It's really up to you. Also good to note, and I think I noted this in my legendary gear set video where I touched on the full Spartan War Hero set, is that there are no cosmetic only items in Odyssey. So if you for example like the look of these legs, I mean I do because they are red and have these spikes, then you can just also upgrade them to use them at the max level to make you look the way you want. At the blacksmith in Odyssey, you can also sell your junk, buy gear pieces and weapons just like in Origins. But yeah, engraving will likely be the most important role of the blacksmith in this game. So yes, as someone who loved to review the weapons in Origins, having the engraving on top of that will add another layer to the coverage as well, where even bad items can have great value because you can use their special perk that is really good on another item that is way better. Or where I talk about the best item in the game, I can tell you how to make it even better by putting the right engraving on it. It's just another thing that you can change or use to make your character the way you want. Where if you look back at Origins, it was all pretty limited. Let me know what you think about the engraving feature in the comments down below. We will likely see way more of this as we near the release, since again the blacksmiths were not in the demo, so I could not show you this feature in action yet. Maybe later. I'm also working on a pretty big endgame and post-launch content video for Odyssey, like with everything we know so far and everything I learned at E3 as well. So totally subscribe to stay up to date on that. And I got way more Odyssey videos coming at you. Check for example a video I totally recommend you do with a gear item pack you can already get to get a head start when the game launches. Drop a like to support the channel. I'll speak to you next time and goodbye.